In the heart of a small Oregon town, where the rain never seemed to stop, a single act of kindness turned a humble diner into a battleground of principles. It was just another rainy Tuesday at the Maple Street Diner, a cozy spot wedged between a hardware store and a coin laundry in Springfield. The lunch rush hit like a tidal wave, and the air buzzed with clinking mugs, sizzling griddles, and impatient chatter. But what unfolded that day wasn't just about a meal, it was about what happens when decency collides with cold authority, and it left a mark no one in that diner would forget. The clock struck 11 a.m., and Ellen Harper, a 29-year-old waitress with tired eyes and a quick smile, was in the thick of it. Her sneakers squished from the morning drizzle, her apron stained from a coffee spill, but she moved with grace under pressure. Table 7 needed their burgers, a to-go order sat unboxed, and a kid at booth 4 was wailing loud enough to wake the dead. Ellen kept it together, whispering encouragement to her teenage co-worker, Sophie Miller, who looked ready to bolt. Behind the counter stood Vincent Lowry, the manager, his slicked back hair and folded arms screaming control freak. He was the kind of man who thrived on rules, his voice sharp and smug, cutting through the chaos like a blade. Vincent barked at Ellen to hurry up with Table 10's check, his tone implying she was already failing. She bit back a retort she'd worked under him for years and knew arguing was pointless. As she headed to the kitchen, she spotted him, an old man near the door, frail as a shadow, his coat threadbare and damp. His white hair clung to his scalp, and his eyes seemed lost in another time. A faded dog tag peeked from under his collar, and a worn patch on his jacket hinted at a military past, maybe Korea, maybe Vietnam. No one else noticed him. Vincent was too busy snapping at Sophie, and the customers were glued to their phones or their plates. Ellen approached softly. "Sir, you okay?" He blinked, confused, muttering about meeting someone. "You hungry?" she asked. His faint smile said enough. Ignoring the diner's strict "no handouts" policy posted in bold on the break room wall, she led him to a booth, draped a lost-and-found blanket over his shoulders, and slipped $10 from her tips into the register. "Hey, Carl," she called to the cook. "Plate of meatloaf, mashed potatoes, beans, extra gravy." Carl raised an eyebrow, but complied. Ellen delivered the meal herself, adding warm water and cornbread. The man stared at the plate, then at her, eyes glistening. "Thank you," he whispered. "You didn't have to." She smiled. "Yeah, I did." But Vincent saw it all. His face tightened, and before Ellen could check her other tables, he stepped out, voice slicing through the diner's hum. "Care to explain what that was, Harper?" The room didn't quiet yet, but heads turned. Ellen faced him, calm but firm. "He's a veteran, Vincent. He was hungry. I paid for it with my tips." Vincent's eyes narrowed. "Doesn't matter. You don't decide who gets free food. I do." He raised his voice, intentional and cruel. "Folks, your waitress just gave away a meal on our dime. Want a handout?" "Ask Ellen's paying." The diner fell silent. Forks paused. A nervous laugh broke the tension, and Ellen's cheeks burned not with shame, but anger. The old man tried to speak, his voice shaky. "She didn't do anything wrong." Vincent waved him off. "Eat your food, sir." But the man stood, pulling a worn purple heart pin from his pocket. "I served in Key San," he said. "Most of my unit didn't make it. My boys wouldn't let this stand." Ellen stepped forward. "Please, sir, just eat." But Vincent wasn't done. "You're fired, Harper. Apron. Now." No warning, no discussion, just public humiliation. Ellen folded her apron, head high, and walked out into the rain, the old man's words echoing. "They'll come. They always come." Back inside, Vincent strutted like he'd won, but the mood had shifted. Customers whispered, some uncomfortable, others angry. Sophie wiped tears behind the counter, and Carl muttered, "This ain't right." The veteran ate slowly, his medals now visible, drawing eyes. Then the bell above the door rang 4 sharp chimes. 4 Marines stepped in, their boots heavy, uniforms crisp, presence undeniable. The diner froze. The lead Marine, Sergeant Daniel Brooks, scanned the room, eyes landing on the veteran's booth. "Sir," he said, "we got your message." The old man nodded. "She got fired for feeding me." Brooks turned to Vincent, who forced a smile. "Can I help you, gentlemen?" Another Marine, tall with a scarred chin, spoke coldly. "You're in charge." Vincent nodded, faltering. "This is a business." She broke rules. Brooks stepped closer. You fired a woman for showing respect to a man who risked his life for this country. You shamed her in front of strangers. That's personal. A customer spoke up. She's the best here. Remembers my coffee order every time. Another added, she's why I come here. Sophie, voice cracking, said, she walks me to my car at night. She's the only reason I stayed. Vincent's control slipped. This is my place, he snapped. Brooks replied, we're not here to fight. We're here to speak up. Carl tossed his apron on the counter. I'm done. The veteran whispered, I didn't mean for this, but Brooks reassured him. You reminded us what matters. The Purple Heart sat on the table, a silent rebuke. Outside, Ellen sat at a bus stop, apron in hand, unaware of the storm brewing inside. Then Sophie ran out, tears streaming. Ellen, come back. Please. Ellen hesitated but followed, stepping into a diner no longer Vincent's. The room clapped softly as she entered. Not a show, just respect. Ellen faced Vincent. I'm not here for the job. I'm here because a man who served deserved a meal, and kindness doesn't need permission. Brooks nodded. We're sorry this happened, Miss Harper. A woman, Clara Benson, a local florist, stood. Vincent, you don't fire someone for caring. You fire them for stealing, for lying. Not this. Another customer, a mechanic named Roy Tate, added, you've never said good morning in 3 years. Ellen made this place human. Vincent's voice cracked. You all think I'm the villain? I pay the bills. Carl shot back. We keep the lights on, and Ellen kept us going. Then the bell rang again. A man in his 50s, military haircut, navy jacket. James Carver, a contractor, walked in. Heard what happened. Ellen, my center needs someone like you. Better pay, better hours. My uncle, the man you fed, trusts you. So do I. Ellen blinked. Why me? James smiled. Because you saw him. Customers began leaving, dropping bills for the veteran's meal, nodding to Ellen. A teen dishwasher, Malik Jones, spoke up. She gave him that meal fair and square. She's the only one who checks if I need a ride home. Vincent stood alone, the diner emptying. Clara pointed to a customer's phone, still recording. Hope you're ready for that video to hit the internet. By evening it did. Shared on local Facebook, then Twitter, then veteran forums, it exploded. Comments poured in. Shame on that manager. Ellen's a hero. Give her a better job. Ellen watched the video that night in her cramped apartment, stunned by her own voice. Kindness doesn't need permission. Her inbox filled reporters, a podcast, and an email from the Carver Veterans Center. Director Laura Pierce offered her a job, front desk, helping veterans, full benefits. Ellen called, accepted, and started the next day. The center was warm, purposeful. The old man, George Ramsey, greeted her with a coffee and a smile. You made it. She nodded. Yeah, I did. Meanwhile, the Maple Street diner crumbled. Regulars vanished, tables sat empty, and Vincent's swagger faded. A news story ran. Waitress fired for feeding veteran finds new purpose. A petition with 20,000 signatures demanded Vincent's apology or new ownership. His business partner, Diane Walsh, visited Ellen, horrified. I didn't know until I saw the video. I'm selling the diner. Here's something for you. She handed Ellen an envelope with a $5,000 check. Ellen tucked it away, focused on her work. At the center, Ellen helped veterans with paperwork, meals, and listening. One evening, George sat nearby, blanket over his knees. Back in Key San, trust was everything. You didn't ask for permission to do right. Ellen smiled. I just saw you were hungry. He chuckled. That's why it matters. She asked if he'd called the Marines. Didn't need to, he said. Told one friend. When you're good to one of us, you're good to all. Ellen opened Diane's envelope that night, reading the note. Thank you for showing us integrity. The $5,000 was a start, but the comments under the video hit deeper. She's why I believe in people. What if we were all like Ellen? It wasn't about fame, it was about being seen. Her small choice, a $10 meal, had toppled a tyrant, rallied a town, and reminded everyone that kindness, not power, builds something lasting. The Maple Street diner closed 3 months later, its sign faded, its story a cautionary tale. Ellen thrived at the center, her desk a hub of quiet good. She never sought the spotlight, but she'd proven one truth. A single act of humanity can ripple forever. What do you think? Should Ellen have fought harder against Vincent, or was her quiet dignity the real victory? How would you handle injustice in your own life? Stand up, or walk away. Share your thoughts in the comments, especially on confronting cruelty and standing for what's right. Your voice matters.